up, y'all? It's your girl Kadia, aka Mariama May, and I am back again with another video. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for returning to my channel and supporting your girl as we go on our journey to 1 million subscribers. I know that sounds insane, but it is true. We're gonna get there. We are gonna get there. And if you are new to my channel, welcome to the making. Okay, so jumping right into it, today is this is like not in the middle. Today is Talk About It Tuesday, so we're gonna get into it and we're gonna talk about discussions that make us uncomfortable, that make people uncomfortable, because how do we get growth? Out of your comfort zone. Okay, so no, I did not do my edges. Yes, you can come for me if you want to, but will that make me do my edges? I do my edges when I want and upon different occasions. So I'm about to work out later today, so it's not necessary. Get into it. We're gonna be adults and we're gonna address these things like adults, okay? So you can respectfully agree to disagree with me. I appreciate your comments, I appreciate your opinions, and I respect them, and I expect you to do the same for me, because baby, you will get that block. Okay, so question number 1. What is increasingly becoming socially acceptable? Okay, so here it goes. What is increasingly becoming socially acceptable? Something that I feel is increasingly becoming socially acceptable that I personally am not in agreement with is the lgbtq whatever else movement. Okay, so I believe that is something that is becoming socially acceptable. In my opinion, I am not in agreement with any of it whatsoever, even though I am not a Christian, like as far as like following Christ, because a Christian by definition is a follower of Christ. The lifestyle that I am living currently does not follow Christ's footsteps, so I'm not gonna fake like I'm a Christian. However, I do believe in God, I do believe in Jesus, and I do believe in the Holy Spirit. I have a very strong faith foundation for myself personally, because I just do personally, as well as the way that I was raised and grown up. So as you know, the way you grow up and how you're raised, that affects your lifestyle, that affects your thinking, that affects a lot. And me personally, God is not in agreement whatsoever with LGBTQ, and even though I'm not following exactly in his footsteps, I am not in agreement with it either. I feel like that has a spirit attached to it, and that person is just too far for me, and like I don't want to go so far in life with just foolishness and like things that are socially acceptable that I know is wrong, and like be so far away that like God can't reach me when I desire one day to get to heaven. So personally, I am not in agreement with the LGBTQ movement. I feel like that's something that's becoming socially acceptable. And another reason I am not really with it is because I just think that it's just not right. It's not normal. It's not natural. There's no way that anybody was actually born that way. And all of my foundation is faith foundation. It is faith, and also it is kind of facts, because just a few years back I used to be like I went to MSU for a little bit, literally a smidget of time, but I do know that the transgender like mindset or something like that, that basically was just, that was like a diagnosis and considered a disorder by society. But now all of a sudden society is accepting it and wanting our kids to have that type of mindset, when a few years ago it was diagnosed as a disorder. So baby, tell me how does that just like switch like that? If you don't like my opinion, that's fine. We can agree to disagree. Now, just because you are in that community does not mean that I hate you or anything like that, but I personally am not in agreement with your lifestyle. Let's see, is that all I have to say on it right now? I feel like we are really pushing that agenda in children's faces, and children don't even know freaking what their favorite food is, let alone sometimes their color. Some kids don't even know their birthday, but you're gonna give them this idea that you can choose what gender you are. Baby, no, you can't. Like, what are we gonna do with science? Like, gender reveals and like stuff like that. Like, what are we gonna do with the actual facts that there is an X chromosome, there's a Y chromosome? Like, what are we gonna do with that? Are we gonna just dismiss them? Like, that's all we've been basing our stuff on for the past thousands and thousands of years. Now all of a sudden, what are we gonna do? Take them chromosomes away? Like, it literally, like, make it make sense. Like, I can't wake up tomorrow morning and be like, I am 54. No, you're not. Baby, you are 23. That's who you are. I am a woman. I'm a female. Can't nothing take that away from me. I have the chromosomes of a woman. I am a woman. I have the changes of a woman. I have a menstrual cycle. I have feminine features. I have feminine parts, and I am a woman. I am a girl. I can't wake up tomorrow and just be a boy. It doesn't work like that. Just like I can't wake up tomorrow and be 55, 60, 70 and just decide that I'm 70, or I just can't go into the hospital and say I'm a doctor. Like, no, you are who you are, and that's that. Okay, so that's how I feel on that, and that's something I feel like is becoming socially acceptable. Now, people will say it's their life, do what you do, and I'm not saying, you know, I would never ever socially accept that. If that means that my platform doesn't completely blow up, that's fine. But what I'm saying is I'm not in agreement with it, and nothing and nobody will ever make me be in agreement with it, period. Another thing that I feel like is becoming socially acceptable is the culture of, I think I seen something on Justin LA Boy's post of, what was it? I think that's something that is becoming socially acceptable is he was talking about some like basically like borderline prostitution, and I do feel like that's true. So like a lot of times, like, first of all, I do like female rappers. Like, they do put me in like a vibe of like being like a boss chick or whatever, like being like about my business, or like just feeling like a boss, you know what I'm saying, sometimes. However, I do kind of somewhat agree with that post as far as certain things like that are like borderline prostitution. Like, if he get me Fendi on my feet, you know what I'm saying, and Balenciaga shoes, or he give me a chain around my neck and he give me earrings, then he can have it, you know what I'm saying, that he can get this. And it's just like, that is kind of like borderline prostitution, is it not? Like, I feel like that's something that's like more socially acceptable. Like, I feel like the women that, I feel like there are still good women in this society, yes, but I do feel like somewhat of the culture, like, I get it, like women are like trying to play the game and stuff now. Like, I won't say now, but I get that women are like really like pushing the agenda of like, guys are the players, we can be players too, we can do it too, like women can do everything, we can do all this. But something that I feel like the question said, what is increasingly becoming socially acceptable? I feel like borderline prostitution is literally becoming more socially acceptable. Like, no, boy, for me personally, no, you can't get none of this. You cannot hit nothing. Not even hit, I don't even like, no, you cannot have intimacy with me just because you buy me something. Like, no, absolutely not. Thank you, but no. You're not getting anything from me just for buying me something, just for giving me money. Like, no, I'm not a woman on the street. I'm not for the streets, ain't in the streets, never been in the streets. And no, you can't buy me. You cannot buy my love. You cannot buy my body. And that's just on period. So that's how I feel about something that's becoming socially acceptable. Like I said, these topics might be, you know, hitting home to some people, but we can respectfully agree to disagree. I don't agree with the culture of like, you can buy, if you buy me this, then you can do this, or you can just, you know, just do what you want to my body, or I'll give you this if you give me that. But like I said, it's people's life. God, who's the big man in charge, he gave mankind free will, so who am I to say that you can't have free will and do what you want with your body and your choices, your decisions? But like I said, I have a faith-based background. I know spirits are attached with a lot of things, and also know that, like, to be a woman of value, a woman of worth, like, I feel like a lot of the times we as women feel like the culture of today sometimes just like seemingly like so toxic, even though the Bible says that there's nothing new under the sun, which is completely true. I feel like you can't be complaining about these men when you just giving it up so easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, men are physical beings or whatever. Some women are more physical too, some men are more emotional, but for the most part, like, he gonna want something. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gonna want it, but just because he wanted it don't mean you gotta give it to him. So no, that's why I feel like it's becoming socially acceptable. And that's just kind of like my thoughts on it. Like, to be like, you can't be complaining when you just giving it up so easy. Like, make him work for it, make him put a ring on it, value your purity, value your virginity if that's what you want to do. But if that's not what you want to do, don't be complaining when he hit it and quit it. All right, that's all I'm saying. Do not be complaining when three months in, 2 months in, 6 months in, 3 days in, 30 days in, you're like, oh, I think I found him, I found the one. And then all of a sudden, just because he gives you something or treats you better than the last guy, you just give it up so easy. Like, no, you cannot buy. Just because you give me a Coach purse, I don't care if it's a Birkin bag. Just because you give me a Birkin don't mean you're gonna be sleeping with me. I'm not that easy. Sorry, sweetheart. Not sorry. Moving on. Okay, so it says, the one from Instagram, the Instagram response I got was, she said, talk about it Tuesday, how to be selfish when you're always giving and taken for granted. So this is a good one. I would say truthfully, I'm in that space right now where I'm just kind of like, I feel like I'm in that space right now where that's what I'm like literally learning to do. And I guess like it just depends on who it's for, because I feel like sometimes family, me personally, I don't have like those issues from my family. My family is like, we're cool with each other. Like, I love my family. I'm truly blessed, but like in regards to a friendship or relationship, relationships are not friendships, and intimate relationships, they're not, even family relationships, they're not 50-50. They're 100-100. Like, we in. You know what I'm saying? I feel like your family that you're born into is something, it's a gift from God. Like, God gifted you. God gave you them as kind of like life people, like people to be in your life to help you get to your journey. Like, that is like your staple. Like, those are your staple foundational people. Like, sometimes I understand, I get family can be toxic. In that situation, I feel like you have to have the conversation before you bring out the scissors. So to me personally, I feel like you can't just cut someone off if you never, communicated. That was something that I used to be very bad with in my past, which was communication. But God blessed me to run across some individuals along my path that just really helped me to be a better communicator. So I feel like communication is huge. Communication is key. So if you feel like you're being taken for granted, how are you being taken for granted? What exactly are they doing that is making you feel like you're taken for granted? And talk about it. You can't force somebody to talk to you, but my thing is, if I do my part, I give my 100%, I give you my all, I give you my best, and you still take advantage of that, you still take that for granted, then that's on you. The ball is now on your court because I did my part. It's not just to be like, oh no, I talked to her and whatever. It's like, first of all, I feel like it's the delivery of the conversation. So like, how are you going into the conversation? You can't go into a conversation hostile or disrespectful or rude and expect to get the outcome that you want. Now, I just ran across a situation actually last week where it was like, I was feeling a certain type of way and I wanted to talk to an individual. I wanted to talk to that person, but they didn't want to talk to me. And at that point, it was like, okay, well, now I have tried and you didn't want to talk to me. So now, then I feel like then it's the pullback factor. Okay, does that make sense? You have to pray, meditate, really think about what you're gonna say, how you're gonna deliver it, have the conversation first effectively. Even if that person is difficult to talk to, even if that person might seem like they have like a staple mindset of like, I said what I said and I feel how I feel. Well, okay, that's understandable, but could you see it this way? Could you see it that way? You don't have to beg nobody for nothing but God. Honestly, God and Jesus are the only people that you really have to beg for anything from. So I don't feel to beg anybody for any, like I'm not gonna beg you. I can ask you, but if you say no, I'm gonna take that no, and that's a dub. Like, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll figure it out. God got my back. He always has. That's kind of like my thing for 2022. Like, God got my back. Like, he always has. I guess that's what I was saying. You can't just go around cutting people off with no warning. You can give people a warning. Like, you can, and even before you have such a serious conversation, you could kind of, I want to say passive aggression. That's kind of like what I'm doing right now. I'm in that season where I feel like I'm learning a lot because I've been through a lot with friendships and relationships, and all the time, sometimes like you gotta realize that, hey, sometimes your stuff stink too, okay? Sometimes it do stink. And so I'm recognizing my own flaws, but the things that you need to be selfish with, your standards, your boundaries, be selfish about that. Like, and sometimes that selfishness I feel like when it comes to standards, boundaries, and how you like things for your life, you have to be a little passive aggressive. Like, you don't have to be like a rude person, but somebody could rub you the wrong way. Say you're talking to a guy, or even just a friendship. Say you got a friend and she call you out your name. Like, we can be cool and stuff, but don't call me no B. You know what I'm saying? Like, do not call me no B. I don't care how cool we are. Like, I am not, no, don't call me that. We cool, and that's fine. Don't call me no B. And that's like, you can take that passive aggressive. She could take it, she could leave it, she could leave herself. But what we not gonna do is call me out my name. Because that's you teach people how to respect you. So if you don't stand up for yourself, then you're teaching people, how to treat you. So yeah, that was a lot. I hope I answered your question. Being taken for granted, that's not fair. Have that conversation, and if you feel like they still taking you for granted, then you pull back. But you gotta communicate before you pull back. You have to, or else it's just not fair. And then the same thing can happen to you, because karma is real. People call it karma. God's words say you reap what you sow. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that it was helpful. Without further ado, over and out.